Sure. Well, he said there was no way Trump would win. It'd be a landslide. So who's the fake news? Anthony Cumia, who runs his own network, will put it up on screen for everybody. He's got the great Gavin McInnes and many others on. We're honored to have him host an hour a week whenever he feels like it. And again, you can find out more at compoundmedia.com. I don't need to bring myself up. I'm not gonzo journalist, as everybody knows. People are interested in the actual news, but you got the Pope saying if we question mainstream media, we eat turds. I mean, I'm entering the twilight zone, and then we have sexual pleasure with them. Means how sick his brain is. He's like putting that in my mind. And then we've got Colbert flipping out, saying, I need to grow the F up. What do you think's happening? It seems like a meltdown's happening.
Alex, I am so proud, by the way, that you are now the #1 scourge of the left. You're the guy. We've seen it happen over the years with other people. Rush back when Clinton was president and Breitbart and everything. You have taken, talk about that new level. You are now the brand new absolute scourge to the left.
I love it.
And they don't know what to do about it. It's fascinating to watch, and it's fantastic.
But what do I do? Because, I mean, I'm sure you've had people come up to you on the street, in fact, you have, and you call them idiots like they are, and you get fired. I'm having people literally run from me in these displays or say they want to kill me now for no reason. I'm just sitting there, and it's not very liberal.
Well, you are you kind of are the face of alternative media, of the media that was giving the people the truth during the 18 months of campaigning that we saw, while they were lying to everybody. And then when push comes to shove and the election happens and we see who was actually right and who was wrong, they like to dub everyone that was right as, like you said, fake news. And so you're the face of that to them. But meanwhile, to America and to the people that voted for Trump, you were the guy that had it right.
It's crazy. And here's a silly analogy. It's like if you have this car they sell you, the mainstream media, you try to start it, the engine falls out like an old Three Stooges cartoon as you drive off the lot, and black smoke and it stalls. That's mainstream media. Lies, nothing's true, twisted, talking points, proven as a fraud. InfoWars or Compound Media or Max Kaiser, Drudge Report, put the key in, starts great, going 80 down the highway. They call that fake. They call delivering and being accurate and having giant audiences fake. So I'm glad that the fake news calls us fake. But I'm going to hand the baton to you and get a final comment from our friend Max Kaiser here. But both of you, first, Anthony, where do you see this going then? I mean, because they really have collapsed. Now they say they want state-run media. Will they be able to actually do this?
It is so, like I said, it's fascinating and fun to watch this whole thing because they don't know what to do. All they can do is what they've been doing. And what that did was get everyone in the country to absolutely not trust them anymore. And they see everybody going to these other sources to find their news, and they're in panic mode. And you got people like you mentioned, Colbert, who was the fake conservative guy on Comedy Central and was unbelievably popular, and now he's himself, and no one could stand the guy. So they don't know what to do. They're scrambling. Meanwhile, guys like you and I and Gavin and your guest here and everybody else that's giving people what they want they have to be labeled. So this will continue, but I think we saw a grand awakening of people in America, and they're not as stupid as they were even a year ago, as far as the media is concerned.
And
we look and we say, they're lying to us, and now we know it.
I agree. Take Max. I would call Max classical liberal, but he's been liking Trump when it was unpopular for a year. By the way, how did you get away with that with your liberal audience?
I mean,
you just don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. I mean, looking at the logic of it, but I mean, you know, Hillary herself said she had two personas, one for the public and one for private. She's totally inauthentic. She had her speeches for Goldman Sachs, where she gave one speech, and then she gave her speeches for the public. Whereas Trump gives kind of the same speech to everybody, and your show is, you're authentically Alex Jones. I mean, yeah, you're down here in Texas. You're kind of a redneck, if I can use that expression without causing too much
I don't care.
consternation. But that, you know, you're authentically who you are, and you know, we are free to dismiss some of what you're saying, and we're free to embrace some of what you're saying too. But you know,
sure, so where does it go with them?
I don't feel like you know, when you hang up the microphone, you go and you're a completely different person.
No.
I know that you're not. You're the same guy on air who's off air. And so this is the.
That's what I'm asking. What happens to them now?
I think that they go the way of the dodo. They're being they are becoming extinct. You know, the media, there's only 24 hours a day. People can only watch so much media per day, per person. And if you're not being watched, you know, you're not going to get the support.
Sure, they go extinct, but they're saying they want to shut us down. And already in Europe and on Facebook, they're starting to block our articles. It's on Drudge Today. So I want everybody to know, they bring us down. I just go on a long vacation till the revolution's won. They're going to shut everybody down. So I want everybody to know, if they can shut Bannon down, Drudge, Breitbart, and InfoWars, that's who they're listing. And I tell you, I don't like, actually, it's weird to be #1 being attacked, because it is happening. I've reached #1 status. And it's kind of fun, but kind of not fun, because I'm like, these are serious criminals, you know? I mean, these people, like, overthrow governments. What do I do? But I guess it's just, if they're having to mess with me, though, it shows how pathetic they are.
Well, there's a tremendous move toward localism. So I think people's media becomes very local, just like everything else is becoming more local. Economies are becoming more local. Media is becoming more local. And there will always be room for honest discourse.
All right, I'm going to hand the baton to this guy, because I'm hogging the hour, and I'm honored he's here doing the hour. Anthony Cumia of CompoundMedia.com. Take over, my friend. Thank you so much. I just wanted to get your take on all this.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alex. Unbelievable. Yeah, he is the guy now that they're looking at and saying, wow, this is a danger to us. They don't like when people start encroaching on their territory, just like we saw with Donald Trump, an absolute non-politician. And he comes in and takes over. Yeah, I've never held public office in my life. I run businesses and stuff. Yeah, let me run for president. I think I just want to be president of the United States. Why? Favors? You owe people favors? You need money or something? You need to... No, I just really kind of like the country. I love what it's given me, the opportunities it's given me and my family, and I want to give back a little. And I see how horrible this is as far as who has been in charge over the past few years. So that's what... So they don't know what to do about that. It freaks them out that they have these people that are coming into their little playroom. And as far as the media goes, absolutely, you got Alex Jones saying things that the mainstream media won't say and won't talk about, because, again, they're in bed with this one and have relationships and owe this one a favor and that one. These are all now alternative media that has nothing to do with paying people back. It's, let's get the truth out there. People want to hear it. Hey, we want people to watch us and listen to us, and that's what they're going to get. And that's what we want to do. It's not about trading favors. Be right back. Mega special live now. Get DNA Force for 25% off on InfoWarsLife.com. For a limited time, we're running a 25% off DNA Force Mega Special at InfoWarsLife.com. This is, without a question, the most advanced nutraceutical. It's a nutraceutical that we've ever created. DNA Force loaded with the patented Bio-PQQ compound that's backed by 175 clinical studies and extremely hard to procure. DNA Force also contains CoQ10, digestive enzymes, powerful herbs, and many other high-quality ingredients you could read about at InfoWarsLife.com. Just one patented ingredient in DNA Force costs upward of $30,000 per batch. So we're often out of stock for months at a time. Visit InfoWarsLife.com and take advantage of this DNA Force Mega Special. Get 25% off DNA Force while supplies last. Hi, everybody. Back, Infowars.com. Anthony Cumia in for Alex Jones. I love saying that. I like saying it. It's so much fun. The attention Alex has gotten over the course of this election has been astounding. And so entertaining to watch. Like we were talking about before when Alex was on, they don't know what to do. They are at a complete loss, the mainstream media, as to what to do about this distrust that has come up over the fact that they were completely lying to us. Well, for years and years, we all knew this. We would say, well, the media's lying, and they always had some form of plausible deniability. Somebody could always argue the point and convince some people. Others were completely convinced that the media was indeed lying to us. I was always in that boat. I thought the media was very dishonest for a long time and wouldn't just take it at face value. So we get to the campaign, and now it's blatantly obvious. Their goal to get Hillary Clinton elected, they threw out any bit of integrity, journalistic integrity. It just went out the window. They said, this is so important to get this woman elected that we don't even care if everyone notices that we're lying to them. It's obvious that's what happened. It was that important. And they also had no defense against this new alternative media that was going on. It was always a joke to them to have bloggers and video bloggers and people writing articles. It was a goof, right? Oh, you got this going on the internet. Oh, that's cute and everything. But the truth of the matter is that was getting traction. And the more distrust there was in mainstream media over the course of the 18 months of this campaigning that went on, alternative media gained traction. And people started saying, it's so obvious they're lying to us. Now, where can I go to get the truth, or at least to get facts that are coming out so I can compute it myself and draw a conclusion on my own instead of being fed your opinions by mainstream media? So they just didn't know what to do. They sacrificed any integrity they thought we still believed that they had by trying to get Hillary elected. And then the bottom fell out. The plan was supposed to be Hillary gets elected, and now it's the same kind of quid pro quo between the administration and the media, and that was it. Now everyone's got to watch the media, the mainstream media, if you want to hear what the president's saying. More lies, but, you know, as time goes on, their trust will come back. Well, that didn't happen, did it? Donald Trump gets elected. He chooses on many occasions to just go to Twitter and go to YouTube, hit social media up, hit alternative media up, and spread his word that way. And how interesting is that? That the media put all their money on that one bet that they would back Hillary Clinton, make it blatantly obvious they were lying to the American people about the election. And lo and behold, they crapped out, as you say, in Atlantic City or Vegas. They threw the dice and lost. And I couldn't be happier. And people that are part of this alternative media couldn't be happier, because people's their trust is not going back to mainstream media. And I don't know what will happen. I think, as Alex's guest said, they might go to the dodo bird, the way of the dodo bird. But it is interesting to watch. We're at a very important crossroads as far as how people get their information. Be right back. Welcome back. Infowars.com. Anthony Cumia here. I loved when Alex was also talking about Stephen Colbert and that whole ilk. We talked about the media being liars and losing their journalistic integrity, what little they had left anyway. These late night talk shows and things like, everything on Comedy Central, The Daily Show, is just a bastion of left-wing ideology. To hear, yeah, that's great. Stephen Colbert tells Alex Jones to grow the F up. That's something. That's something. Here's a guy that had a very successful career on Comedy Central. Funny guy when he was playing sort of a Bill O'Reilly type. That was his character. And then we see he goes over to late night, and he stinks. He's not funny at all. And it's because I think the only reason he was able to be funny was he was portraying somebody that could have a sense of humor. The left is incapable of having a sense of humor. And these are the people that are supposedly the artists and entertainers that give us all that wonderful entertainment, movies, and comedy and whatnot. And in their real lives, they are incapable of humor. They're incapable of understanding sarcasm and context. They hear something and lose their minds. It's genuinely fun to watch, especially in this this time now, because we kind of see things are changing. Things are changing. I don't know where they're going to go from this point, but that pendulum is definitely starting to go the other way, and I like it. Donald Trump, of course, president-elect, choosing his cabinet, and, well, the media hates it, don't they? And Democrats and liberals, they hate it. They cannot, every appointment, they have something to say about it. It's racist, sexist, homophobic, misogynistic, all wrapped up into one guy, Donald Trump. And he's choosing his cabinet. And the latest thing, here's the latest thing that they're losing their minds over. Too many military people. They don't like the fact that Donald Trump has been choosing generals as part of his cabinet, and they're freaking out about it. Now, I guess one of the stats is good old Richard Nixon back in the day, as they say. He had 12 people in his cabinet, 7 of which were military. They were former military men. And, you know, so far, Donald Trump, 2. I think 2, working on 3, maybe. And they're losing their minds. So we got John Kelly, a Marine general, John Kelly, to lead the Department of Homeland Security. Wouldn't you want this? I hear the complaints sometimes, and I am beside myself as to why they're complaining. Don't you want a military man to be head of Homeland Security? Somebody that understands the enemy, understands the people that wish that we weren't secure? It makes no sense to me to start getting on Trump's appointments in this way. That's who you want. Another one, of course, Mad Dog Mattis for Defense Secretary. And here's another one, Defense Secretary. You absolutely want this. We have been under Obama's regime for 8 years. And I think so many people have grown used to being castrated as a nation, gelded. They start saying things like, oh, having military people, these generals in place in the cabinet, they'll want to go to war. It'll stir up Mad Dog, and he'll want to go to war. And it's like, these people understand war. They've been in war. They've been commanders. They've had people under them in their command. They understand the seriousness of war, and that it shouldn't be taken on lightly, and it shouldn't be taken on for the wrong reasons. They don't look at it like, how much will it cost to send my men in there? They've been there. They are the best people for those jobs. So to have people in the media come out and just because it's Donald Trump start getting on his case about his appointments is so obvious why they're doing it. Anything Donald Trump does, they will bash because they don't want him to succeed, is what it is. They want him to continue to be portrayed as a womanizing, unstable, not smart. You know, all those things they called him for 18 months to try to not have him elected. They want that continued. Why? I guess maybe they're gunning for 2020. or even the midterm elections in 2018. But look, horrible bosses. Trump to pick fast food CEO for labor. Now, this guy's a CEO of, I believe, Carl's Jr., and the guy knows how to run a business. Another appointment was Wilbur Ross for the Secretary of Commerce, and it's the same thing. Oh, Wilbur Ross, the guy's worth $2.5 billion. Well, we can. As the Secretary of Commerce, don't you want a guy that's made $2.5 billion as the Secretary of Commerce? I'll tell you what, it sounds like a pretty good idea. I don't even think you have to delve too far into it. I don't think you have to be an economics major to figure out that a guy that has made himself $2.5 billion probably knows something about commerce. Am I being ridiculous here? But of course, it's terrible because, again, the Obama administration has trained people. And especially when you think of 8 years, this is 8 years that he's been in office. So kids in their 20s, early 20s, were barely into puberty when he took over. So they've had their entire adult life so far, teens and adult life, their little portion of their 20s, if you will, to look at Obama as, this is the way things go, right? So then you have somebody like Trump come in and say, no, we ought to have generals in this position. We ought to have a successful businessman in this position. And they lose their minds because they're told, by the way, that military men are evil killers. And they're told that rich people are evil and they just stomp on the poor to make their money and never do their fair share as far as taxes goes and contributing to this country. So they look at this, and then the media feeds it to them, and they go, oh, my God, why is he appointing these people? When if you took a second and used common sense, you'd go, well, that seems to make sense. You would want a general in charge of Homeland Security. You would want a general in charge of the Defense Department. You would want a successful businessman in charge of commerce. And then you come to the Housing and Urban Development, HUD. Well, Ben Carson, what does he know about housing and urban development? Well, you know what? Maybe nothing. Maybe nothing. But there have been plenty of people that have been experts in housing and urban development that have stunk. Their own King Obama came into the presidency with barely any experience and none as far as foreign policy goes. And the first thing they wanted to do was rip on Donald Trump for having no foreign policy experience. Well, you loved Obama when he did it. Ben Carson, Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Here's a guy that obviously knows how to build himself up, get himself out of, he got himself out of the ghetto when he was growing up, educated himself, became a neurosurgeon. Don't think that's easy to do. I'm not sure. I'm no brain surgeon, so I don't know if it's even easy to be a brain surgeon. But that's what he did. I think somebody of his qualifications can learn what housing and urban development needs and how he can provide what it needs. Don't you think? I think Donald Trump has been delegating responsibility his entire life. That's why when people said, oh, my God, Donald Trump for president, what's he going to do? He's going to put the right people in the right place. That's what he's done his entire career. I've never seen one shot of him with a welder's torch and pulling down his mask and welding something on a building. But I see plenty of buildings that he's put up. Never seen him with a rivet gun. Never seen him tarring a roof. But it all gets done because he's delegated that responsibility. And that's exactly what he's doing now. If Donald Trump is qualified to do anything, we don't know how he's going to be as president of the United States because he's never been president. He doesn't have a political background. But if there's one thing we know he's good at, it's getting the right people in the right jobs to finish something, to get something done. That I don't think can even be denied because that's been his career over the years. So when he picks a cabinet, and every time he picks a new name, they have a problem with it, it just shows, again, how dishonest this media is that we have in this country, how they are continuing to lie to us for their own means so they can get something as that goes on. Yeah, Ben Carson not qualified. Could you imagine if a Democrat like Hillary would have won the presidency? She goes to appoint an African-American to the Housing and Urban Development, and Republicans and conservatives turn around and say, oh, my God, not qualified, terrible pick. How quickly do you think the word racist would come out? I say immediately. I'd say immediately the word racist comes out. So, again, the hypocrisy on that left is astounding. From everything from the coverage of the election to the recount. Is anyone even paying attention to the recount anymore? I don't know. Is Jill Stein still trying to BS everybody and say that she'd have done this even if Hillary won? Even if Hillary Clinton won, I would still be behind this recount. But we're only counting states that Trump won and important states that Trump won. Yeah. And I'll be speaking in front of a Trump tower. I'll be doing that. So if Hillary won, she'd drive to Chappaqua and stand in front of Clinton's house and do that? Is that what you would have done? It's, again, the hypocrisy, the phoniness, the lying. Doomed recount effort is fading. Yes, it is. And she still can't quite explain why she did it. I'll tell you why. Because Hillary and everyone that supported Hillary needed somebody to grab that grenade and throw themselves on top of it. She was the one chosen to do this recount because Hillary couldn't do it herself. She was minutes before the election saying how Donald Trump said he wouldn't pledge to accept the results of the election because they knew they were winning. Oh, did they know they were winning? So Donald Trump wouldn't say, yeah, I'm going to accept the... He's got to wait till it's over. I want to see if there's been any shenanigans or bamboozling or something like that. So he wasn't going to pledge to accept an election before it happens. And, oh, my God, Hillary was like, well, this is an end of democracy as we know it. This man's a lunatic not accepting the election. Ding, there's the election, and let's completely switch it over. My God, there must have been some kind of hacking. The Russians did it. This one did. And there we are in a recount by people not accepting a legal, democratically run election right after they said, how dare he not accept a legal, democratically run election. I just hope it's not me and Alex and some of the other people say, I hope everyone is really soaking this in. Because as it is funny, it is also so dangerous to have a population that just accepts this stuff and takes it at face value, forgets how they lied to us, and starts thinking they're telling you the truth again. Don't fall into that trap. They've always been lying. It was blatantly obvious during this election, and they will continue to do it. They will just continue to lie to us. Another one of my favorites is Who is that? There he is. The Environmental Protection Agency, Scott Pruitt. Thank God, a guy that just does not believe in global warming or climate change or whatever you want to call it. My personal thoughts, I think man here on this planet does affect the environment, just like every other animal crawling around on this rock does. We impact the environment in some way. Whether it's life-threatening or not is debatable. Now, when they say, well, scientists say we affect the climate. I agree with that. Do I think it's imperative we change it tomorrow? No, I don't. Anthony Cumia in for InfoWars, and we'll be right back in a couple of minutes. Extremely limited run of ozonated olive oil skin cream, now back in stock. We've just received a new extremely limited run of our InfoWars Life ozonated olive oil skin cream after being sold out for over 6 months. Just one batch of our exclusive ozonated olive oil skin cream takes between 3 and 6 months to create in our U.S. certified labs with the highest saturation of ozone and oxygen ever developed in a skin cream. This is the Rolls-Royce formula for healthy skin. This is our fastest selling formula ever for InfoWars Life, and there's no question we will be sold out very soon. Visit InfoWarsLife.com to secure your own ozonated olive oil skin cream before we sell out of this extremely limited run. Ozonated olive oil. Hey, olives. Used to watch Popeye. How you doing? Anthony Cumia, Infowars.com. Breaking news, John H. Glenn has died. Astronaut John Glenn, one of the original 7 Mercury astronauts, has passed. 95 years old, was he? Damn, that's a pretty good contract, I'd say. 95, a senator after that. He went up, I think, on one of the shuttle missions at some point when he was pretty old. I mean, the guy was right there at the beginning of the manned space program here in America. We were fighting against the Russians for supremacy in space. And there it is, yeah. A transcontinental flight speed record before being the first American to orbit the Earth in 62. 36 years later, at the age of 77, in 1998, becoming the oldest man in space as a member of the 7-astronaut crew of the Space Shuttle Discovery. Just an amazing career. Personal note, I attended John H. Glenn High School in Elwood. My high school named after John Glenn. And it is kind of sad to see because he got to see the amazing strides we made, especially early on, going from him as a Mercury astronaut, watching men walk on the moon, the shuttle program, all the amazing strides we made in manned spaceflight. And then at the end of his life, he gets to see us having to hitchhike a ride with the Russians on the ancient Soyuz capsules. And it had to be a little disappointing for the man, for John Glenn, because he was just a pioneer. And in a time where it was just about, hey, we need to get this done. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Get in the capsule, and we're just going to light it up and see what happens. Just a bunch of really brave men. And I think some of the millennials and college students should look at some of these amazing men like John Glenn and like some of the people we saw at Pearl Harbor yesterday, honoring the soldiers that fought in World War II. I don't think there's enough of that appreciation of those people and what they did and the sacrifices they made and just the courage they had to do things to make this country great. And I think we might be seeing that change again with a President Trump. I hope so. That's what I have for this country. So Godspeed, John Glenn. And we'll catch you on Infowars.com. Next time, it's Anthony Cumia. I could be seen on CompoundMedia.com. I want to thank Alex for letting me host the show. Thanks.